All right, guys, what's going on? We have the Week 10 recap of the League of Superheroes. Let's get right into it. There's a lot to talk about. Um, so, I lost this game to George. George finally gets a good week. He scores. This fantasy football doesn't make any sense because George was one of the lower scoring teams in the league. Now he has a lot of his better players on his bench on buys. His whole bench is buys, and he's projected. I think ESPN projected him and me. I think for around like the mid 80s to maybe the low 90s, and he scores 131 points. He had really good team management by picking up Moncrief and Corey Davis, who I dropped, who other than week 4 against Philly, did nothing. Like nothing. Like no startable weeks at all, other than 1 week in Philly. And that was it. I dropped them, and then George picks him up and starts him against New England and drops 22. So it's frustrating. David Johnson has by far his best game of the year against Kansas City. Good pickup by Dak Prescott, kind of giving him what he needs for that week for his main quarterback on a bye. And Prescott gave him solid 21 points. It's awesome from a bye week quarterback. George managed his team extremely well this week. I, on the other hand, did not because the pickups I had this week gave me a combined. Let's see, I picked up Cordell Patterson, had me a whopping 1.1. That sounds weird. Corey Clement had 1.3 points, and I picked up D.D. Westbrook. It's I had Thielen, Miller, Collins, and Watson on bye. He had me a whopping 6.8. Luckily, I still scored 107.8 points because there's kind of some lower scores in this league, and this kind of kept me afloat, and I'm still currently in the 6th spot. I'm just lucky that Trubisky scored me 36, who's having an awesome year. It was a good stream by me to have the Packers defense. My kicker did pretty well. And Michael Thomas. That was essentially my team this week. So that was an interesting game. We both scored far. It was basically a far better game than anyone expected. Because a lot of our teams on our bye. So congratulations, George. He did a really good job of managing his team. Well, it looks like Billy didn't even start a defense this week. I didn't even notice this, and he still won, which is not bad strategy because if there's not a good defense out there, you saw with the Jets D, like they can get you like a -7, or the Saints D early in the year where they got like a -9. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but he still won. He managed to get to 2-8 with Hopkins and Rudolph on a bye. Tyreek Hill had an awesome game. Fournette came back and played extremely well. And Mayfield was a good start by him with, I guess Stafford had a bad matchup, so he played matchups pretty well there. Gunslinger still in the thick of things. He had really bad luck. I'm surprised he didn't start Kerryon Johnson. I know Chicago had a has a great defense. That was probably the reason why. And Kenyon Drake has had the better matchup against Green Bay. I'm just surprised he didn't start Kerryon because he seems like, well, I guess last week against Minnesota he didn't do well. So that's a defensible move, I would say, by Raheel. Allen Robinson killed him. Both these guys, if he started either one of these guys, he would have won. That hurts. Didn't start to the Jaguars defense. Jaguars defense is depleted value. They are the 20th ranked defense in the entire league. And Gunslinger drafted him in the 9th round. They might have been the first defense taken. It might have been them, or it might have been the Rams. One of the two. I forget. So Raheel is still in the thick of things for the points race, Me and him are essentially having the same exact season. It's unbelievable. We both lose after winning 3 straight. We're now both 4-6. Um, Kaleem wins a game where he only scores 95 points. Good job by him. Um, Barkley had a down game and Mixon had a bad game. If basically his team revolves around these two backs. If those two don't have great games, I mean, he's really relying on Keenan Allen and Tate to put up some numbers. Keenan Allen is very good. He's had a bounce back couple kind of weeks here, even though 14 is not the best. Um, but he basically needs Barkley and Mixon to score, combined, I'd say 30, 35 points for him to get into like the 110 range, I would say, which would win you most games. Oh, he has Aaron Jones on his bench. That helps him as well. If he started Aaron Jones, he would have more points. He still would have won, obviously. JD kind of fallen apart here. Lost 5 games in a row. Unfortunately for him, has 92 points. Just kind of got killed by just his tight end. Stinks, man. He has Gronk out. I mean, that's what happens. Gronk's out. It's hard to find a backup tight end, man. Benjamin Watson's usually good for at least some points. He got 1 catch for 1 yard in a game where they scored 51 points. That's just bad luck. This is bad luck. I mean, also if he started Wilson over Rodgers, I would have started Rodgers in that situation as well. So, Kaleem has now won 5 games in a row. I believe he was 1-4. Yeah, that makes sense. He was 1-4. Back to 6-4. Good management by him. AK with, though, I believe the highest scoring week in the league so far. I think it is. Yeah. Just across the board, just nukes from Breeze, Kamara, Chubb, Cooks, Adams. That's unbelievable. I mean, kicker got 17 points. Unbelievable. Basically didn't make one wrong move here because he does have some startable options on his bench. Awesome job by his team. Chubb, I mean, that's gonna kill me. I was literally 10 minutes away from picking him up. I think he picked him up at like 138 or something during the day, or 3. Let me see. So yeah, added him at 325. I get out of work at 320, and I went home. I get home around like 3:40. I went to go pick him up. Gone. AK picks him up at 15 minutes before me. Unbelievable. That's gonna kill me, man. I could have used those points this week. Mo down to 3-7, lost 4 games in a row. The former champion it's looking rough. Still 3 weeks to go, but I'm not sure if he can make it in on points anymore. I feel like that's his only chance because I'm not sure if you're going to make the playoffs with 6 wins this year, especially since the top 5 seeds make it on based on record. So he's really going to have to just score a lot of points. I guess we'll look at it. Started Fitzpatrick over Big Ben. That kind of cost him. Not the win, but definitely in the points race that hurt him. Everyone else, I mean, the trade for Dalvin Cook, I think was worth it, but it's not worked out for him at all. OBJ, his highest point scorer at 21. OBJ having kind of a down year, and he's still the 8th ranked wide receiver. Dude, that dude is unbelievable. I'm fully on board with him being considered a top 3 wide receiver still. Yates and Hassan. Yates is, I mean, arguably the best team in this league. I know Fawad's 8-2, but you could definitely make a case that he is the best team. Gordon, Ingram, and McCaffrey all on the same team is unbelievable. If Ingram is like he was last year, like he was yesterday, this team is, I would say, almost unbeatable. His wide receivers are a little iffy. The Cooper trade, it seems like it's been helping him a lot. Edelman got hurt. I'm assuming head stuff. No, ankle. I feel like Edelman is like always has like concussion problems. His tight end can hurt him, but he doesn't have the greatest wide receiver depth. I like Emmanuel Sanders. He probably would have. He's definitely a starter. That's just a little. I'm not even a criticism. It's just trying to find a little weakness in an already great team. But let's see, Hassan, 119 points. Still a very good week. He just ran into the wrong team. Breda 26. Matt Ryan at 20. Anything he could have done? Nothing. He has really good quarterbacks, man. Still rolling with the double tight end lineup there. Oh, AJ Green was hurt. That hurt him a lot. Off a bye too. I wonder if he's. It might be a little while. I was hearing it might be a little while for him. I guess let's look at the news. Until December. That really hurts. That hurts a lot. His team revolved around the brown-green combination. That's tough. But it's easier, luckily for him, it's easier to find wide receivers than it is running backs. So hopefully for him, he can pick up a wide receiver, a startable one. And we got to SN and Fawad. SN started the Jets defense and still somehow won. Good for him. Jets defense, unbelievable, -7. What a train wreck. As a Jets fan, that was just an absolute train wreck. I don't even want to talk about it. Zeke gets back to form a little bit with 33. That's what he does, man. That's what he could do. He just gets you 20 carries, just gets you a couple catches per game, touchdowns. Dude is a beast. Fawad, extremely hurt by Cooper Kupp being hurt. Out for the year. It's one of his, I would say, he still has a lot of depth. He still has Hilton and Marvin Jones on his bench. So, it's not going to be that big of a deal for him. He was hurt. Not that much. He could have started Ebron over the Giants. Ebron over Kittle. I don't know why I'm looking at the Giants. But it wouldn't have made a difference at all. Maybe 12-point difference. SN had McCoy on his bench. Could have scored him a couple more points. Connor, I think he's okay. Bell out for the year now. I'll have a rant of that in a second. But James Conner, man, great pickup by him. He still won this week with basically a down week from Connor. Schuster, 17 points. He's basically got the Steelers on his team. So Galladay, he has some good depth there too. I like it. His team is definitely has options. He has startable options, which I usually like. But this year hasn't been working out as well for me in another league where I feel like I almost have too many good players and I never know when to start the right one. Fawad drops to 8-2, and now his title, for number one seed, is a little bit in question now because Yates 7-3 and AK 7-3, and they have a lot of points too. Now, right now, it's still Fawad would be the first seed. Now we can start talking about the race for the second round or for the first round bye for the second seed. And right now, that belongs to Yates. He would be the second seed, so Fawad and Yates would both have the byes. AK would have the third seed. He would play in the first round. He would be the third seed. Now we go into the 6 and 4 teams, which is Kaleem and George. Kaleem has more points than George, obviously, so that would be the 4th and 5th teams right there. And the 6th team, still based off of total points, I believe would still be me. But that's interesting because now Hassan, based off of George's win, was bumped out of the playoffs, and now he is the 7th team, still on the inside or the outside looking in. He was potentially, I think he was bumped from the 5th to the 7th, and he's now on the outside looking in for the playoffs. He's only 12 points behind me, so that could change. And Hassan has an extremely explosive team. From week to week, you never know. He could just drop 160. His team has done that twice. I think he's had a 150 week as well. I'm almost surprised I have more points than him, to be honest. I guess he's had some really kind of bad weeks as well. Raheel is next up. After that, yep, he is. And then he's about 23 points behind me, so it's still very possible he catches up with me. SN is 5-5, but he's very behind the points. He's basically about 70 behind me, so he really needs to get a win. He's got to get on wins basically. So he's got to basically root against George and Hassan. So that's it for this week. Hope everyone has a great week and gets their waivers in, and I hope everyone has a good rest of the week. Thank you guys.